and welcome to Her Story, Our Story. My name is Stephanie Wall. They call me Speaker Stephanie. I am the CEO and founder of Speaker Stephanie LLC and the founder of Her Story, Our Story, 1 Hour of Power, and the founder of 1 Million Lives Transformed, where we transform lives, relationships, and finances. The goal is for every woman, every person to transform their lives. I particularly super serve those women who've experienced trauma in their lives. Welcome to Her Story, Our Story. Remember, you belong here. You belong there. You belong everywhere. Be sure to shine your light. My name is Stephanie Wall, and I'm certainly getting it all. Come on in.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Her Story, Our Story. My name is Hope Jackson, founder of Always Hope, and my purpose and goal is to help women to unlock what is hidden inside them. I know from experience that sometimes in life when you're going through dark times, you don't realize the purpose that you have inside of you. So my goal is to help you to find it, and just to remind you that no matter what you go through in life, there is always hope.
Her Story, Our Story, 1 Hour of Power. It's an online, free, private group for women. There's a huge disconnect between what we go after and what we really want. Let's move forward. Join Her Story, Our Story, 1 Hour of Power. Do you sometimes feel unfulfilled and confused about your purpose? You don't have to go it alone. Come on over to the No Judgment Zone, where you're going to connect with other like-minded women from all over the world and receive support from others who have been through similar situations. Everyone has a story. What's your story? Seeking guest speakers. Do you have a story, talent, or ability that you would love to share? We invite you to be our guest. All right, welcome to Her Story, Our Story, 1 Hour of Power. Listen, we always ready. Hope and I, we wake up ready. Now, our guest tonight, look, I want you to know that all the doctors are still in the house. All the doctors are still in the house, and more doctors are coming your way. But this story, it's for you. So those of you that are watching right now, this story is for you. I know whoever you are, this story is for you. So tag your friend, tag your mama, tag your sister, tag your friends, and bring them on in. But before we do anything else, decency and order, because my co-host getting ready to chime in right now. If I say one more word, if I don't let her get this preaching going on, this prayer. So Hope, please, decency and order.
Good evening, everyone, and let us just give honor and glory to God. So, Heavenly Father, we just thank you for today. Lord, Father God, we thank you for this opportunity just to come together, Lord, just to shake things up, change some lives, and transform minds. So, Lord, Father God, we thank you for our guest and her yes. We thank you for Stephanie and her obedience, and just continue with Her Story, Our Story. And we just pray that someone receives a word tonight that would just help them to just start anew. I know that today is the first day to begin again. And all these things we ask in your mighty and precious name. Amen.
Amen. Amen. So you all, before we bring out awesome Dr. Rivera-Dannert up to the stage now, but she's going to tell y'all about how I messed her last name up something terrible, because you know how this is what we do. That's right up there with me, not remembering to unmute, and I just have a whole conversation and my co-host be like, you're muted. So I forgot my cup that says you're muted, but you all, act like I did. But Hope, I want to share this. Before we bring our guests, I want to show you guys this. I have a deck of cards in my hand. And I was in sales for years, and one of the things that we shared with our the other salespeople was like, when you have to get to the no's. In order to get to the yeses, you to get to the no's. So this deck of cards was kind of like what we did. Like when you're playing cards, first it's we do want the joker, but we're not going to deal with the jokers right now. It's usually you're like, oh, you want a face card, you want an ace, you want a joker. But before you can get to them, you gotta go, oh look, so look, boom, so that's your yes. Face card. Yes. Yes. Oh, this deck is stacked. Hold on. Look. Oh, what? Yes. No. Right. So the number card is your no, but you got to get to the look. No. Yes. Y'all follow what I'm saying? Look. One more time. No. Yes. You've got to get through the no's for the yeses. You got to get through the no's to get to the yeses. You got to get through. You got to get through your failures to get to your successes. I ain't never met anybody yet that just did one automatically without first having some losses or some lessons. So the name of the game is go ahead and get your no's so you can get to your yeses. Go ahead and get your setbacks so you can get your setup. All right, so let's go ahead, Hope. I want you to go ahead. You got the intro for our guest. Hope is going to do the intro, and then we're going to bring up the doctor. You know, we love to say the doctor's in the house. You too.
All right.
You ready?
I'm ready. Ready. So tonight, you all, as always, we always bring the fire, and tonight is going to be no different. So tonight, we have affectionately referred to as the Fearless Living Coach, Dr. Maryann Rivera-Dannert. Dannert is the fearless dealer everyone needs in their corner. She is continually searching for new pathways, fresh experiences, and ideas and desires inspire and change deeper fulfillment in other women in the fabric that binds to Maryann's core. She has a background filled with adversity, instability, dysfunction. She has had many things stacked against her, but even with all those things stacked against her, she continued to pursue. She is a human resource professional. She is a 8-time author with 5 of her books reaching best-selling status. She has written pieces of her life's journey to a role model to other women that all things are possible despite their beginnings. Putting her gifts and talents and expertise to excellent use, Maryann launched in 2020 the Fearless Fridays with Maryann's podcast, which she introduced to the world and other fearless women as they empower, inspire, and transform to help other women shift to living their best life. So without further ado, you all, let us welcome Dr. Maryann Rivera to the stage so we can get some more of this good, juicy information. Good evening, Dr. Maryann. How are you?
Hello. I'm great. How are you?
Good. We are super excited to have you on tonight. As always, we just love to just sit back and have these good girlfriend conversations, as Dr. Stephanie would say, because those good girlfriend conversations, the revelations that come out, we just shift and transform people's lives, and it's just a good time just shaking things up for people. So we are super excited to have you here with us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
So, Dr. Maryann, listen, thank you for your yes. And so, look, I want you to know, I love paddles. So when you see these paddles coming up, girl, we don't do no thumbs up. We do thumbs up. We do hearts. We do claps. We do 100s and fireballs. So when you see it, don't say, what's she doing? It's me giving you love, girl. It's me giving you the love. So this is what we want to do. Hope is going to, because she's a couple questions we got to ask at the beginning. And when we come back, we're going to get deeper into this juice. You all listen, go ahead and tag your friends, tag your family, because you want to hear this story. And if you're somebody that, if this resonates with you, don't wait to the end. Tell Dr. Maryann as you listen to the story what's resonating so she can give you all of who she is, because, you know, we need engagement. We like engagement, right? All right, Hope, it's all yours.
So, Dr. Maryann, I just have a fun question just to kind of break the ice of things, and we just love to answer this question. If you had the choice to go and vacation anywhere in the world, would you choose a mountain type resort or a beach type resort?
Beach all day long, without hesitation.
So I think that is a consensus. We only had maybe 2 or 3 other guests say they would go mountains. Everybody else is beach. So thank you for that. So what we want to know is, what is your 6-word story? And again, you can just give us give us the words and then just a brief summary, and then we'll get more into it as we go into the interview.
I love that question. I will say that I help women reclaim their power.
Okay. Can you just give us a brief summary on how you help women reclaim their power?
Yes, definitely. By providing them with strategies to silence their insecurities, set healthy boundaries, and fearlessly pursue the life of their dreams.
Oh, look at me acting like Dr. Stephanie, and my thing was on mute in the beginning. That is good. So helping to reclaim their power by providing strategies. I love the fact that you talked about the healthy boundaries, because I think that is something that is so important for women, is to create healthy boundaries as you're making transitions and changes in your life, because you don't realize how unhealthy your relationships are and how they affect your mental and your capacity to do other things, because you're constantly putting yourselves in positions where you're being there for other people that you don't realize it until it's gotten so bad and it's unhealthy. So I think healthy boundaries are extremely important with, empowerment and helping us to reclaim our power and to move forward. So thank you for that. Dr. Stephanie, you ready to come on up so we can get
First of all, I was screaming when you had us on mute. I said, yes, it's not just me. It's not just me. Oh my gosh. So listen, I want to know, every woman that comes on here, we have to ask, who were you? Like, I know I was a whole hot mess before I was anybody, before I was Mrs. Wall, before I was Dr. Wall. I know that before I started believing in myself, I was something else, right? I had tried some other things. What were you before you were Dr. Maryann? And also in that same vein, I want you to tell us about a time. No, actually, I'm going to hold that. I want you to tell me who you were before now, and then we'll come up with the second question.
So part of my story began years ago. I have been in domestic violence situations. I have been a teen mother. I was a high school dropout. I dropped out of the age of 16 from high school. I still remember that day like it happened yesterday. I moved around a lot and just jumping from one thing to the next, particularly relationships. My first writing my chapter was called Relationship Junkie, because I realized that I have always gone from relationship to relationship since I started dating at the age of 16. And it was primarily because of my insecurities, not having healthy boundaries, not knowing who I was, not loving myself, not feeling loved, dealing with abandonment issues, rejection, and things of that nature. And that's who I was prior to who I am today.
When you before you came into who you are right now, tell me about a time that you failed at something, or that you had to overcome something. You experienced something significant in your life and you had to overcome it. Because a lot of the people in our lives, or people that are on, that log on and watch, they've experienced something. They're going through something right now, or they're on their way through into something, and it is it's halting their life, it's halting their growth. So I want you to tell me about a time that you overcame something.
So I will have to say it was a relationship that I was in prior to meeting my now husband. I was in that relationship for about 2.5 years. And it was a very toxic and unhealthy relationship. It was a domestic violence relationship. However, it was hard for me to label it that, because the individual never physically abused me. It was more mental, emotional, social, by keeping me away from friends and family. It was financial. And that's the thing that, for people who are going through situations, like that, sometimes it's hard to label it domestic violence, because when individuals think about domestic violence, the first thing they think about is black and blues, bruises and beatings, broken bones, things of that nature. But there are so many forms of domestic violence that a lot of people, particularly women, suffer in silence because they don't know. And there are so many, again, so many forms. So the relationship that I was in that relationship for 2.5 years, very toxic. And it wasn't until another friend of mine said to me, just asked me blatantly, what is it about this individual that keeps you in this relationship? You were in a previous relationship where you were married to the individual, you had a child with that individual, and you found the courage to leave. What is it about this person that keeps you here? And it wasn't until that moment that I had that person, that outside input, that caused me to pause and reflect and just, take a deeper deeper look into the relationship, the thing that I was going through, and that I just, finally realized that I needed help and reached out to, my close, friends, asked for help and talked about, an escape plan, because whether it's physical, mental, emotional, financial, it's always healthy and very important to have an escape plan because things can go wrong. And in my situation, it did go wrong because I had it all laid out. The individual decided not to go to work on the day that I was supposed to be moving. And something just said, you have to go. You have to go. So I left. And I want to say that it was easy. It was not easy. There were so many things that happened within the next 24 to 48 hours that just led into other things. But I will have to say that that's one of the biggest things for me.
So you said that you left school at 16.
Yes.
Talk about that. Why'd you leave school?
I didn't fit in. I didn't fit in. I thought that I was grown, 16 years old. I thought that I knew better than, anyone. And I didn't feel, again, like I belonged. And that was something that had always occurred throughout my life in different aspects, like I talked about, relationships and things like that, was not belonging. And for me, if I don't belong in a place, that's what I do. I leave, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a job, I leave. So for me, that's the thing. I left when I was 16 years old, and I still remember when getting on the bus. It was public transportation, and the bus driver looked at me and said, what are you doing? And I was like, I'm, just dropped out of high school. He was like, really? So you think you're grown? And I said, as a matter of fact, yes, I am grown. And he looked at me, he said, get out of my bus and you can walk your grown beep home. And for those that are familiar with upstate New York, my birthday's in November. So it can start snowing as early as October. By November, mid-November, it was a lot of snow. It was cold. And I walked, I have no idea how many miles, but I walked home. And I actually kept from my parents for about probably 2 weeks that I had dropped out of school. I pretended to be, going to school in the mornings. When my parents went to work, I would sneak back in the house. I would answer the phone like I was my mother. But I completely had forgotten that at that time I was also in PINS, which stands for Person in Need of Supervision. So I was in the juvenile system. And one of the conditions of me being home was that I had to be in school. And the school had reported me to my PINS worker. And then they ended up calling my mother at work, and I got caught. And I ended up violating, the conditions of being home. So I got sent to a juvenile detention center. And that's a whole nother story.
You know what? This is one. Let me tell you something. You're not finna come up with me. I know Hope was like, wait a minute. I'm gonna bring Hope. Look. Okay, so now then listen. I do. This is so as I'm looking at the screen, none of us look like what we've been through. We all holy and sanctified now. We know we filled with the Holy Ghost and all that good stuff. But baby, we was filled with some piss and vinegar too. Back as the old people said back in the day, piss and vinegar. But we was right. So I don't know if you know this, but I um in my junior year, so I was 16, I was expelled because from school, and they was like, you could come back next year. but I was before, but during that same, idle, you have time on your hand. I falls in love, got in a relationship, got pregnant. And so it was also now, they have a different place for you at that point. You can come, you're not coming back here, but no belly. You can go there, another little place you can go. And I was like, I'm not doing any of that. So I ended up going to the local community college and getting my GED at the same time. But the shame and the blame and everybody, in fact, when they found I was pregnant, here I was 16 pregnant, they went ahead and started making phone calls to tell everybody, some relatives even, that, they couldn't hang with me because I was a bad influence. So I spent a large part of my life feeling that I wasn't enough, a lot of not enough, because I ain't want to tell nobody I had a GED. I call it the getting everything done thing, right? I got that from D.L. Hughley, right? I ain't want nobody to know how to get everything done degree, even though it looked just like everything else, right? But the stigma that was attached to it. So how did you how did you overcome that stigma? Because everything about it, what you're telling us right now, I know that there probably was a part in your life, a portion of your life that was reserved for just the people that knew. And if you ain't already know that little thing, you wasn't getting that story. Because see, I am now Maryann Rivera-Dannert, and I can't tell you about that part of my life. So talk about how when you decided it was okay to share that part of your life.
So I've never shied away from talking about dropping out of high school and, eventually receiving my GED. However, what I didn't tell people was where I got my GED, which was in a juvenile home. So, and like in job applications, things like that, the name of the school, I would just put the city and state where it was from, not the institution, because yes, I felt ashamed. And I felt that I was going to be judged by that versus being judged by my skill set and by the knowledge that I held. But that piece of paper, it means a lot. It means a lot to a lot of people, especially in the workplace and things of that nature. So from, when I got my GED, which again was like the day before that I was supposed to be released from the juvenile home, I got the results. And back then, I'm pretty sure that the GED, process has changed. Back then, you had to have a 225 or higher to be able to pass. I got a 225 on that paper. So when the counselor called me into the school, to her office to tell me, and she gave me the paper, I'm running up and down the halls. I passed. And they're telling me to be quiet. And I was just, I was super excited because I knew that if I had to come back home and go to school, that was not going to be an option. School and I just did not mesh. So I kept it a secret, I didn't talk about it. And then eventually, and I can't even remember exactly like when it happened, but I just slowly started talking about it. And now it's like, yeah, I've been in juvie, I've been in and out of homes. So I was in custody of New York State for about 2 years. And it wasn't because I was necessarily doing anything like horrible. I just didn't want to stay in school. I was always running away from home, and my parents were not having it. So back then, things were a lot stricter and a lot different than they are now. So yes, so that's how that happened.
Let me tell you, this is powerful. Okay, so and folks, listen, this is a dialogue, and when we dialogue, that means that we are all seeking to understand when we're communicating back and forth. So please, I know you are probably in the same shock, like she looks so amazing, I can't believe she experienced that. But here's the goal is just whatever you to not look like what you've been through, and just because even when you're going through, you ain't gotta look what you look like what you're going through. But I want to. So when was the shift, and what drove you to want to serve women? Like, what drove you to want to do the life's work that you have right now?
So it kind of happened organically. I used to be a photographer before I became a life coach, and I started falling out of love with photography because I didn't have a niche. I was doing everything: weddings, engagements, pregnancy, everything. And it was becoming exhausting because my weekends were filled up. I was working Monday through Friday on top of having my children, my husband, and everything. It was just too much. And I had a business coach, and just in conversations, one of our coaching calls, she asked me like, what is my vision? What are my goals? What do I want to do? And I mentioned like, I really don't think I want to do photography anymore. And I gave her the reasons why. And she goes, what do you see yourself doing? What do people come to you for? And I thought about it, and it was like people come to me for advice. I've been, in a lot of relationships. I've been married, I was divorced, domestic violence, filed for bankruptcy, had cars repossessed, for a lot of different things. Was a teenage mother, was a single mother. And people come to me and just ask me about stuff. How did I do it? What tips do I have? What advice do I have? What can they start doing now so they don't find themselves in those situations? So it's kind of like preventative maintenance. So she was like, well, it sounds like you could be a life coach. And I had no idea. So, we talked about it a little bit more, and she helped me with the process. I kind of started, I became a life coach. So we had a little, a check-in meeting, coaching call later on. And she was asking me, how is it going? What are you doing? What's your process look like? What does your fee structure look like? And I was like, fee structure. So then that was a whole another mindset shift that I had to do, was in regards to money, my relationship with money. Because in the very beginning, I wasn't charging. I was talking to everyone. My discovery calls that were supposed to be 15 minutes will end up being like 45 minutes to an hour. She was like, no, you can't do that. And we talked about, the whys and things like that. So that was a whole another, like I said, mindset shift, because I felt, helping people growing up, as a, I still am, a woman of God, but I was in religious environment before, as a child. So I had all that, those things going through my head, and it was like, well, I'm just helping people, why should I charge? And so, we worked through that. I got certified and started putting systems in process. And then that led me to becoming a coach. I'm not a coach, a author, because she was creating an anthology project, and she asked me if I wanted to be a part of it. And that was the first time that I shared more openly about, domestic violence.
And that's a great segue into, because I'm noticing your shirt that says fearless. And I know that that is also what you, so what does that mean? And what does it mean to be fearless?
So first things first, fearless does not mean that go through life without fear. Fearless is about knowing your fear, what the root of the fear is, and doing that thing anyways. My biggest thing is, I strongly believe, is that fear only lasts for that moment, because the moment you step your foot out of your comfort zone, the moment you say, yes, I'm going to do that thing, fear dissipates. Like, where did it go? And you just keep doing it, doing it, and doing it. And now that it goes away, things get easier. One of my biggest fear was, afraid of heights. And I still am a little bit afraid of heights. However, one thing that's not going to stop me from getting on a plane and going to that beach that I like to go to. And I tried zip lining. And I didn't realize until I posted not that long ago something about heights. And a friend of mine, she was like, "But wait a minute, you went to the top of the arch in St. Louis, Missouri." So I was like, "Oh yeah, that is very tall." And I remember doing that, looking out the window and being terrified, because like if anybody has ever been up to the top, it kind of like sways a little bit. I was panicked. And then the second thing I did, I remember, was going to the second tallest building in the world, it's in Shanghai, China. And that was super scary. But when I first got to the top, it was very cloudy. It was foggy. So you really couldn't see outside because it's all glass. So I was like, oh, this is, not that bad, because I can't see that I'm really high. All of a sudden, a gust of wind went through, and the clouds moved. There was no more fog. And like just panic just came over me. So one of my classmates, because we were on a class trip, like kind of gently moved me over to the handrail, and I just kind of like just held it. You can see the grip of me holding that thing. But then I looked down and I was like, this isn't that bad. And then the next thing I did was I zip lined through the jungle of Mexico, Cancun, Mexico, and not Cancun, Riviera Maya. And it was amazing. Like the first one that I did was like, ooh, this is going to be scary. And it was so freeing. It was so exhilarating. And I'm like, this is awesome. And literally there's a video. If you search through the videos on my personal page, Maryann Rivera-Dannert, you will see the video that I'm literally holding the cell phone with one hand and gripping the cord with the other hand. And I'm like, this is awesome. And it was exhilarating.
That's amazing. I'm actually afraid of heights myself, and I've done zip line just to get over it. So I love the fact that you shared that. That definitely puts that fearless to test, to just jump out there and do that. So that's amazing.
And another quick thing that I did also, something else really quick that I did in regards to fear, I went on a helicopter ride. And I did it by myself. My husband, stayed home. I went out that day, and when I was still living in Texas, and I saw the sign that said helicopter rides $15. I'm like, $15? What? So on the way back from where I was going, I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna go. And because I was doing it solo, they charged me double, which was fine. And there's a video of that also on, my Facebook page, and that was a little scarier than the zip lining, let me tell you. But again, it was awesome. It was amazing.
I thought you sure we ain't, as the folks say, we ain't kin folks. Now I now I'm gonna see you zip line, you going through the jungles, zip line, you in helicopters, you going to the top of. Did you jump now? I did uh uh jump out of a plane in tandem. You do that too?
Not yet.
It's on your
Not
list.
yet.
It's on your list. You got to do it. You got to do it. Don't be bungee jumping now. We don't need that in our lives. We don't know.
No,
We don't
no,
know.
no, no, no.
That ain't. We ain't doing the rubber bands. So that don't snap back. We don't do that. So you all, just so you know, if you're either in her story, our story, our private group, or if you're on YouTube, I just dropped in your free workbook. Dr. Mary Ann has given you a free workbook where you will learn how to forgive yourself and release what is no longer serving you. If you don't need that, then I need you to check your pulse, because all of us at some point in our lives need a workbook to help us to let go of something that's no longer serving us. This I know for sure. If you have never experienced it, as my late father-in-law used to say, keep having birthdays. Keep having birthdays. So I want you to tell me, what is it that you find, particularly with your clients and women, what is the one thing that is hardest for them to give up? What is that thing? I mean, some of us, we know it's about food. Sometimes it's give up the thing we've been working on the longest. We be stuck. But what are you finding is the one thing that's the hardest for them to give up?
I will have to say that the hardest thing is just seems the limiting beliefs that they have set on themselves, the limiting beliefs that have been spoken to them, over them by other people. A lot of women, I think that all women, just humanity in general, everyone wants to be happy. Everyone wants to be free. Everyone wants to live a, fabulous life. They want to enjoy life. But yet the moment it's time for them to make a shift, for them to make a decision, for them to do something different, the excuses come on, like, oh, I can't because well, I remember when I tried before. And it's like, wait a minute. I'm like, no, we have to reframe all of that. Just like you're believing all these lies that have been spoken to you by other people, you can reprogram your mindset. You can start speaking truth. You can start speaking, the things that you want in life. Stop talking about the things that you don't want. You don't want to be fat. You don't want to be this. You don't want this. You don't want that. Start talking about the things that you do want, and start speaking to yourself as if you've already achieved those things, as if you already are those things. Not walking around like you're conceited, with a big head or anything like that. But because our ego knows when we're being genuine and when we're just talking out of our, you know what, so it's just being genuine and just speaking life into yourself, speaking truth into your goals, and my big tagline is that you are a priority and you matter, because it's true. Everyone matters. You are a priority. So start shifting, your mindset and start reprogramming yourself. Stop talking about the things that people have said you can't do because you were a victim of domestic violence, or you dropped out of high school, or because you were divorced, or because of this, or because you've been fired from a job, or whatever it is. No, you are worthy of whatever goals you have for yourself. You are more than enough. You just have to start believing that and start behaving as if that has already been accomplished.
You know, you made some good points there. And one, mindset. In fact, you can do absolutely nothing until you first address your mindset. It's I always use the example of, once we became, well, many times I'm on different stages. I talk about going on vacation. I remember, like, growing up with in lack. You were like, nobody I knew personally outside of, you know nobody. I knew nobody in my personal circle that did like real vacations that you didn't get in the car and drive to. So when we started going on, like, we wanted to go on a cruise, it was like there was a big deal, because we were like, ain't nobody that's going on cruises, like zero. And so when we decided we want to go, it was like, well, how are you gonna go? So they was like, well, you put your deposit down. You can put deposits down on cruises. And so we just started paying on it. And now, when I say we, me, my husband, and our 3 kids, we're talking five. And it was substantial. And so I remember just like, well, we don't really have it. We're just gonna pay, and we're gonna pay, and we're gonna pay over the year, and we're gonna do that. Eventually, not only we go on a cruise, but we on so many cruises, we've lost count of how many vacations we've been on. We've lost count
Yeah.
of how many times we did it. And then what happens? We went from doing a vacation to paying for a vacation to buying a house, and we realized that the vision board. Steve Harvey talks about all the time that if you don't write it down, because with a Trevor I says that writing, your hand, your hand it leads to your memory, but anything that goes into the mind seeps into the memory, and whatever seeps into the memory, this is your storage, your bank, where you bank those things up. But here's the thing: once I created a vision board, I found that everything I put on that vision board came to pass. It was like all kinds of craziness, but it's everything to do with mindset. If you cannot see it, if you can envision yourself actually doing it, you won't do it.
Right.
Plain and simple. And don't matter. I can say all day, you know what, Dr. Maryann, you can do anything until you believe you can do it. It doesn't matter.
Right.
So I agree with you that mindset is everything. Hope, what say you? What say you, Hope? What is your thoughts on mindset?
I definitely believe that if you want to do something different, you got to change your mindset. And these are conversations I have with myself. And I recently had this conversation like this week. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and getting the same results. So if I don't change my mindset to set it towards what it is that I know that I want, then I'm going to keep getting caught up in that same cycle. And one of the things I recently wrote out is God has a plan for my life, but the devil has a plan for my life. And when he sees me continuing to do the same thing over and over again, he's able to attack me easier because I'm staying in the same cycle versus doing something different to where I'm shaking him up. So therefore, he's not able to attack me in the same area. So I definitely believe mindset is key when you want to shift and do something different. You got to change your mindset.
And I want to add too that that fear is very real. And when we make that commitment to ourselves to step out and mindset, work on our limiting beliefs, fear is going to creep in. And especially when you fail, because failure is going to happen. No one ever starts to say, oh, I'm going to do this and as a successful at the first try. there's going to be, hiccups and bumps and along the, bumps and bruises along the journey. But the thing about it is, fear is very important because it protects us, and fear serves a purpose. So what I, talk to my clients about is grab fear by the hand and sit down, have coffee with it, and listen to it. Talk to it like it's an actual person. Why are you here? What purpose are you serving? Oh, I remember when I first felt you. It was because I was going through this thing in my life. But I want to reassure you that I'm okay now. I've worked through that. I've healed. I have an amazing group of family and friends, support system. I've gone through therapy, whatever it is, and just reassure fear that you're okay. And thank fear for serving its purpose, because again, it's protecting you. It has protected you from something. And our minds don't know, again, whether you are going to jump off, bungee jump off a cliff, or if you are just feeling scared because you're going on a job interview, for example. Fear is fear, and the body can't tell the difference. So that's where it's very important to not just, push the fear aside and ignore it, because it's going to keep coming up. It's going to keep coming up. And there's, to me also, again, because, I am the fearless living coach, fear has, it got to the point to where it is from somewhere. And I believe that fear manifests itself. It came into our lives in three different ways. One, because of something that happened to you. Two, it was passed down to you by those that raised you. And three, by what we see in society, by what we see in the news. And, when we see, wars, against countries and things like that, poverty levels and things of that nature, homicide rates and things of, things like that. We're human. So of course we get fear. So I always ask, talk to fear, find out where the fear came from, and just keep having those conversations and just work through it, because it's not going to go away overnight.
You know what I was listening? I had to look it up. I was looking for Chris, and the Champion Network, because he talks about Chris Hampton. When I first met him, I was like, one of the first YouTube videos I watched, the speaker, I used to follow him. It was interesting because I used to follow him. Ooh, Chris Hampton, the Champion Network. I used to follow him, and then we ended up on the same platform. And he was like, hey, he sent me a message like, we need to talk. He was like, I follow you. I'm like, see, this is what I'm talking. This goes back to being in the frame, because you're in the frame, so you can't see the picture. I'm following him, he following me. But one of the things is, he talks about being fearless, but he says fear less. You're not going to stop fearing, but you're going to fear less. He does a whole talk on it, and I love that. But in fact, I shared it about a million times, because he talked about the fact. Look, here's the deal. Feel, everybody from Brene Brown talks about feel the fear and do it anyway and all that good stuff. You have to use your fear as a speaker. Any speaker that tells you that they are not nervous when they speak, they are telling a story, a lie, a plan. You never stop being nervous. What you learn how to do is come through it a little faster. You learn how to use it.
Right.
You know how to use it. As a matter of fact, for those that are introverted, if you are super nervous, the audience wants you to win. So tell them, hey, I'm a little nervous. The moment you say that, everybody always like, oh my God, right? Nobody likes arrogance. Nobody likes arrogance, right? I'm not afraid of anything. Oh Lord, here we go, another arrogant speaker. But if you say, I'm actually nervous, y'all, whatever, right? They receive that. Now, don't go out there talking about, oh, I'm not as good as the person just kidding. Nobody, no. Speaker fail. Do not talk about that, but do tell them what you're feeling.
Right.
I'm a little nervous, but feel the fear and use it. Fear is your companion. Fear will guide you. Fear will keep you on track. But at the same time, don't let fear paralyze you. That is not going to go away, as Dr. Maryann already says. It's not going to go away. As a matter of fact, the one thing that listen, we ask powerful people ask powerful questions, because powerful questions steer our focus, and whatever we focus on is what we do. So if you focusing on fear, I'm gonna be afraid, I'm not gonna be afraid, I'm not gonna be afraid, you're going to be afraid.
Right.
period. Right. But this is what I wanted you to, what do you do? Oh, there you go. That, oh yeah. Oh, you said Dr. Pamela says fear, false evidence appearing real. And I love that the Dr. Les Brown says fear is facing everything and rising. That's the one I love, facing everything and rising. But I do want to know what how do you combat, like, okay, one, how do you teach your folks? 'Cause I know that you have a podcast. I want you to talk about that as well. But how do you help them, how you help your clients to combat mindset? I like to use affirmations because we have to, because the mindset, the subconscious mind, the conscious mind, all that. We talk about all of that. We talk about whatever doesn't know the difference between the truth and a lie. So if you have this thought, you have to give it another thought. And so I use affirmations. What do you use with your clients?
So quickly, I wanted to share, because I've heard the, false evidence appearing real, face everything and rise. For me, fear stands for feeling empty, abandoned, and rejected. Because when we do something and it doesn't work out, we fear people rejecting us, judging us, abandoning us, leaving us, and things of that nature. And again, it all relates for me personally from being feeling abandoned, feeling rejected, and things like that. But the things that I work with my clients, helping them is letting them know that validating their feelings, because that's the very first thing is validating their feelings and just getting down to the root of why they feel that way, and giving them different options, walking through them with this, okay, what will it look like if you do accomplish this goal, for example, that you have? What will it look like if you don't accomplish this goal? Because I think sometimes we just go through aimlessly, making goals or having plans and doing things and desiring things, but we don't really know why. So it's making sure that those goals that you have, the dreams that you have, the desires that you have align with the purpose that you see and have for yourself. So I think that, it's kind of like just playing it back, working it backwards to get to the point that you're able to move forward. And affirmations are very important. And I always say, grab one of those dry eraser markers right in your bathroom mirror, because you can just use Windex and wipe that out. And put affirmations, on your phone, your alarm, on your alarms. There was a period of time that for probably about 3 months, I had an alarm going off every hour. I am enough. I am beautiful. I am worthy. My goals matter. I am successful, and just speaking life into myself. Because again, you're reprogramming your thought pattern, and it's not going to happen overnight. And affirmation sometimes is, you'll say them once and people, expect to just have everything magically, change. And you have to continuously do it, because just like those limiting beliefs have been spoken over your life for weeks, months, years, possibly even decades, and now they've seeped into your subconscious, you have to do the same to reverse and speak positivity into yourself.
I love that. And so I'm loving it. And Hope that she uses sticky notes with affirmations. And when I saw that, Hope, I'm also a associate adjunct professor with my local university. And when pre-COVID, when we still were now going back, but when we were one of the sessions in person, the restroom, I love going into the bathroom at this one facility because somebody put sticky notes of all different colors with affirmations all over the bathroom. I mean, they're everywhere. They're on the mirror, they were in the stalls, and I just loved it. I mean, when they start falling off, I found myself going putting some other ones out there because the stickiness wore off. So, but I encourage others to do it. Now, I have been, takes way back to my Mary Kay days, but I put lipstick on the mirror because you can wipe it off, right? And,
Yeah.
and to your point, saying it one time, and but not only just saying it is not enough. You have to say it and just say it until you believe it. Say it so much so it's like, I know, like, what is it that you do? Like, I know I know that I absolutely empower women to have the confidence to walk confidently in their lives boldly, right? But and I deal with people that have a crisis of confidence. But this is the thing, I know this. But and I said enough that I know it comes off. I'm not like, what do you do? Some old wishy washy. That's what I do to transform lives. I'm the transformation architect. But I write it down on the board. But you know, when you were talking about money, I remember, and I tell my clients that when it comes to money, you know, what is your belief about surrounding money? Most of us believe the money is the root to all evil, blah blah blah. So you got to deal with that. Get that block out the way. Let's talk what the Bible really says. But then I also have them replace it with the affirmation. And for me, it was the money flows to me and through me easily because it's important to me to receive the money. And why? Why do I want the money? I want the money so they can come to me, so I can support myself, my family, and be able to give to my church. See, money's not meant to be kept. It's meant to flow outwardly. So that's why I said flow to me and through me. So that's you have to get them to that. So I love that. But tell me about your podcast. What is it called? Who do you serve? And like, what is it? Tell us all about it.
So my mission is to see women worldwide live a free, fearless, and fabulous life. So when I started thinking, I'm like, ooh, worldwide, I'm just me. Like, yes, and and I have people that follow me and things like that, all over. But it's like I want to reach more people because I wanted to align with my mission and my purpose, what I want to do, my vision. So I spoke to a friend and I created the podcast. I changed the name. I can't even remember what it was the first time. But it's called Fearless. Right now it's Fearless Fridays with Maryann. So it comes out every Friday morning. And it's all over. It's on iTunes. It's on Apple. Well, iTunes is Apple. Pandora, radio.com, Google Podcasts, Audible. It's all over. And it's about empowering the everyday woman. So I have conversations with women who have overcome some type of adversity in their life, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's teenage pregnancy, whether it's being fired from a job, whether it's going into, being an entrepreneur or making the shift back into, the workplace or vice versa. I talk to women who are in the C-suite, women who are janitors. I just talk to everyone because everyone has a story and everyone can relate to someone in some way, shape, or fashion. Right now, the probably like the last 10 or so episodes have been geared around the co-authors of my upcoming anthology, In the Pursuit of Fearless Living, Pivoting from Life's Uncertainties, which comes out next month. And so I've been doing like co-author interviews just so the audience and people can get to know the ladies a little bit more. But yeah, so I just talked to the everyday woman, and it's like I said, it's heard everywhere worldwide, and it comes out every Friday at 6 a.m. So make sure that you go and subscribe.
Put the information in the chat. Can you put the information how they can get that? Well, can they pre-order the books?
Not yet. We're not at that stage yet, but it's coming soon.
Okay. You all heard it here, but and I don't think, well, actually, you see her website, and I will put the website in the chat as well. So everybody has a story, and when your avatar is it women only? Do you do women and men? Are they a certain age? Are they a certain ethnic group? Or you just who do you serve?
My focus is women, primarily between the ages of 35 to 60, although I have worked with women who are younger and women who are older. And it's the woman that she's either married, single, has kids, no kids, but she struggles at nighttime to get a restful sleep because she's not happy with herself. She's not happy with her circumstances. She's not happy in life. And she's just going through the motions. And she knows that she desires more. She wants more, but she doesn't know what next step to take. She doesn't know what's on the other side of being stuck, of that fear, of the doubts, of the lack of self-confidence. So that's where I come in.
I love it. I love it. When you know I'm the well, all right then. Well, all right. Y'all know that what a series and all of them be just talking. Everybody ask her a thing, but she in here talking. But wait a minute, and not a word. I'm like, listen. Yes, okay, yes, echo. But then but I want everyone to know. So you know, everybody knows that my brand is 1 million lives transformed because I am on the mission to transform 1 million lives. Now, my mentors, my team, everyone has told me you might as well just stop saying 1 million lives transformed because you transformed 1 million lives a long time ago, right?
Mm.
But I say that 1 million, we should always be striving to this. But I want to tangibly, I want to say these 1 million women. These 1 million women's lives I changed, not just overarching, right? So and look, no global. Come on, I was just talking to folks in Africa last week. But here's the deal: when ultimately when you think of a woman, you see her. This woman that's looking for you. She's on the edge. I feel like we all in that same place. That woman, I always say the woman that wants more, the woman that knows she can do more, but she doesn't know how to do it. How do they reach you? What's the best place to reach? Should they reach you on your website? Should they reach you on your social media? What's the best place for that woman to reach you? And is there a specific program that you have for that woman that she needs to get in? I have a membership program. What is the specific thing that you have that woman could benefit from?
So just to make it easy, Maryann Rivera-Dannert, my website, on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on TikTok, on everything, pretty much social media, Maryann Rivera-Dannert. Or you can also search the Fearless Living Coach. And right now my focus right now is just one-on-one coaching. So that's what I focus on. I have a 6-month program and I have a 3-month program. And I also do like 1 hour offs, here and there. I have a workbook. I have all of my books. I also have the podcast. But again, so my coaching right now is one-on-one. And I am in the process of putting the beginning steps to a group coaching program, but I haven't finalized that yet. And, there's still some work to do on that one. But right now my focus is one-on-one coaching.
Got you. All right. So I want you to we want every guest to come on and to talk to the woman who is like you are the fearless, right? You're fearless coach. I want you to talk to the woman that is afraid to take her next step. The woman that's listening right now, she got a dream. She started. She knows she wants something, but she's sitting on the edge. I need you to talk off the ledge. And then hope you will close this out.
So the first thing I want you to do is just be honest with yourself. Write down all the reasons why you're feeling why you're feeling the way that you're feeling. There's a reason why. Write all those reasons down. Write down when you first started to feel this way. Write about where you see yourself going and what's preventing you from getting to that point. Is it a lack of, confidence? Is it a lack of funding, a lack of money? Is it the relationship that you're in? Is it the limiting beliefs that people have put over you? And I want you to write about your perfect day. Money is no object. The relationship that you're with it's not affecting you. You wake up in the morning, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep at night. What does your perfect day look like? Write about it using all your senses. Use, the colors, talk about the colors that you see, the smells that you smell, the taste that you taste, what you're hearing, what are you wearing, how does your skin feel? Are you happy? Are you smiling? What are you doing? Where are you at? Who are you with? You don't have to necessarily name a person, but what is this person doing? And just be as vivid as possible. And the reason why and this is something that I actually have my clients do, is because, as we spoke earlier, if you don't see the vision, if you don't see what you're worthy of, how are you going to get to that step? So that's the first thing I would do is talk about everything that's, hurting you, what's stopping you, what's keeping you blocked. Write the reasons why you feel that way, and then write out your perfect day and call it that. Write your name, Maryann. Maryann's perfect day. I woke up on, tomorrow is September 1st. I woke up at 6:30 in the morning. I'm in my 2-bedroom condo facing the ocean, and just go from there and just talk about it. Be as vivid as possible. And if you get stuck and if you need any additional help, I'm here for you. So you can inbox me. You can find me on all social medias, and I will guide you through the way.
Well, thank you again, Dr. Maryann Rivera-Dannert. Thank you so very much. Well, Hope is getting ready to take us out, and we're going to take you back to the back of Dr. Maryann. But I want to tell you all this now. Be on the lookout. Many of you probably have already received some things. So much good news. We can't tell just yet, but just know that the 1 Million Lives Transformed Mission Brand New You Conference and so many other things are coming. I can't even. I'm so excited. I can't wait to tell you about it. But it's coming. It's coming. So just listen. Look at your messages and know that these things are coming. Many great opportunities, and of course, the membership program is always open. And if you are ready to move into your next, you absolutely stop quitting on yourself and let's do it. All right, Hope, take us on out. Take us on out. We'll see you all next week. Hope, it's all yours.
I got it. All right, everyone. Well, thank you again for joining us for 1 Hour Power. I pray that you received a word from Dr. Maryann Rivera-Dannert. One of the takeaways that I picked up is her definition of fear, feeling empty, abandoned, and rejected. I know at some point in life, most of us have felt that way, especially as women. And it's time for you, as she says, to take your fear by the hand and sit down and have a conversation with it. So as you go through tonight and you begin to prepare for tomorrow, just remember to be fearless. Remember to trust that God has a plan for your life and allow your light to shine. And if your light is too bright for you, then put on your sunglasses. If it is too bright for others, ask them to put on theirs. But allow your light to shine, because your light is supposed to help lead the way, not just for you, but to lead the way for others. So we pray that you all had a great evening. Please reach out to Dr. Maryann if you are looking for a coach. Her contact information is in the comments, or you can go back to HerStory, OurStory to connect with her. But it's time to move forward. So take the first step today. Good night, and we hope to see you all next week.